Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Exchange. Great first show, though, for no limits. Candy, why don't you give everybody an overview of what we did in the first hour?
We debuted the first of our series on CTE with a former U.S. Olympic bobsledder, and he was talking about hyperbaric chamber, CTE, lots of good stuff to come. First of the series, so that was what we started with previous.
So here we are, Sports Exchange. We're pleased to welcome Tom Shanahan. He'll be on here a couple times a month. He likes to talk about basketball, college in particular, as well as pro and college football. So glad to have Shanny on here as well. He'll obviously have his own segment at the end, just like Pundit called the Shanahan Report. For everybody out there, when he talks about college football, he's the one individual that knows an awful lot more about this game than I'll ever know. So with that said, let's get this thing going. The Detroit Tigers defeated the Seattle Mariners 9-3 today to force a Game 5 out west. Mariners actually left All-Star Brian Wu off the ALDS roster due to a pec injury. Move forward with George Kirby and Luis Castillo. So, George, give me a report about what you saw at least yesterday, and then what you probably watched today from Comerica Park.
Yes, thank you, Scott. It was a pleasure to be out there yesterday. It was a terrible situation with the rain and waiting. I felt sorry, but that's just part of baseball in the autumn. The rain delay was over 2 hours in Detroit, but Tigers were really outclassed. They were outmanned last night. They did not play a good game by any stretch. The hitters were flailing at pitchers. A lot of strikeouts. The Tigers have had a difficult time in the last month or so that most of you know in regards to run production. The bullpen has been a little suspect. I mean, they're better than average, but they're not a great bullpen. But last night, Seattle was kicking out on all heels, man. They were really banging that ball. And I tell you what, Tigers had nothing to match it. Yeah, they showed up in the ninth inning, Detroit, and got a couple runs there, but that was about all they did. And then, of course, today, okay, so they had to come back right away. In fact, it started at a little after 3 o'clock Eastern time, as you guys know. And then they came out today, and they didn't really look too good. I mean, the first 3 or 4 innings, the Tigers, again, had no run production. Fans were getting angry. There were some boos that were heard today and quite a few last night. But the fact of the matter is that something clicked. Something woke this team up. You talk about that sleeping giant. Well, today, 3 runs in the fifth, and then another 4 spot in the sixth. And so the Tigers grabbed that lead 7-3 at that time, and the hitting came alive. I mean, guys like Torres and Riley Green and Baez had another great game today, batting wise, and they got good pitching, so they put it all together. So the bottom line is a 9-3 victory for Detroit, and now they're going to go to a Game 5, winner take all, Friday. I'm sorry, they skip a day. I'm sorry. It'll be
Friday.
A great matchup.
Yeah, tomorrow's Thursday, George. Skip a day, Friday. Okay.
It is Friday. Thank you, Scott, for the correction.
Right,
yeah, Friday will be Game 5.
Yep. I know you don't leave Michigan often, so you don't worry about jet lag anyways, but the reality is you go from east to west, you generally have to do it. Yep. So with that said, that's your Tigers report brought to you by the South Florida Tribune. So let's get to the agenda. Tonight's show is what could have been the Chicago Bulls dynasty of the 1990s. We're going to get to that in a moment. But anyways, well, let's talk about what took place recently with Duke men's basketball, Tommy. They've agreed to a new 6-year deal with men's basketball coach Jon Scheyer. They give him 2 additional years through the 2030-31 season. What are your thoughts about Duke rewarding Mr. Scheyer?
What's amazing about Scheyer is he's picked up right where Coach K left off. There's been no drop off in the recruiting. They're still getting the number 1 and number 2 top recruits in the country. And, a lot of times you see players shy away when the legend leaves. And that's just not happened at Duke. Scheyer had been on the bench for a long time as an assistant coach. And he's made that transition. He was actually involved with a lot of the recruits that came in the previous years. So whatever connection you would have thought would have been lost without Coach K's magnetic name, there's nothing to it. Shire has just picked up right where Coach K left off with as many, if not more, top recruits.
Candy, what are your thoughts about the contract that Shire get? Continuity is what they want. They have it and they have a first class coach. We were at the Duke campus. That was pretty neat going over to their facilities. Cameron Indoor Stadium, I think. Go ahead,
Yep.
Candy.
Yeah, I mean, they're smart to do that. He's been, there for a while. He also now created a new opportunity within the men's basketball program that they just announced. I don't know if you knew this, Scott, but NBA champion and former Blue Devil standout Jason Tatum has been named to first of its kind responsibility as chief basketball officer. He will volunteer his time as a special advisor to Shire and the Duke program, bringing championship level insight and professional basketball experience to player development, leadership, and life as an elite athlete. I think that is a superb move by him because I think that'll help him bring in more talent to the school if they're going to have an NBA player to be able to help mold some of these college players and help them. So great moves by him and the college for securing him.
Great information by you, Marvin. Not bad.
It's kind of like that Pittsburgh Steelers situation where they've only had so many coaches because they get it right and they understand culture.
Right.
This is a situation where this coach was handpicked by Coach K. This guy, coach at Duke, he understands culture, understands Duke culture, and obviously he was a great pick by Coach K. Coach K groomed him, and it's just one of those rare situations where the master, the guy who's the master ultimately is able to pick his pupil and his successor, and it was a great pick. The results show, and Duke has not skipped a beat. This program, is rolling like the Green Bay Packers quarterbacks for the last 30 years. They just don't miss a beat. They know how to pick them, and I'm a Duke guy myself. I like Duke basketball, so I'm happy about it, as is Duke Basketball Nation.
Jacob.
Well, remember this big deal, and I was with you, Marvin. By the way, growing up, we didn't have any cable TV, so it was Duke or North Carolina. So I watched both. I liked both, but I liked Duke better. Cameron Indoor, But the big thing you got to remember about coaches is if they get older, Shire's probably been doing all of the recruiting, all that kind of work for so many years, like he was the coach anyway.
Right.
You get older, you just have something. You have delegation at this point. But one of the things that you see also, and good job you brought that up with Jason Tatum, Candy. That is the thing. I was reading up on that. That's awesome. One thing to realize is there is a cautionary tale. And I'm going back to the women's side of the Tennessee women's basketball. Mind you, they're not terrible, but when some of it has been gone, they've just never been the same. So that's a cautionary tale that you get. Now with Duke, you didn't want that situation. The thing is, they had somebody, he picked somebody right inside of Duke who played for Duke. Krzyzewski did. The biggest thing to see is the fact that you're going to see you're going to see the next few years, and you're probably going to see a couple of national titles just the same. And it's like you never left.
Great points, Jacob. George.
Well, yeah, and I could speak from a little bit of experience with the situation which Scott and I, of course, live with here in Michigan with Heathcote and Izzo. But I look at the Shire situation very similar, of course. Replacing a legend is never easy. And certainly Mike Kay has done a fantastic job, as we know, at Duke and also at the Olympics and everywhere he's been. Just an incredible record that man has. And he is in the Polish Sports Hall of Fame that I'm involved in. But John Shire, he's not shying away from anything. No, his schedule is loaded again. He's got the roster obviously is going to have a different look. We all know that there's that revolving door. Because of that program being so successful, we're seeing departures, Cooper Flagg, the most recent, and, that door to the NBA, that's all because it's such a great program. And you know what? It's not going to change because Shire's got his good hand on it. And the news that Candy just explained to us, too, about the return of Tatum. I mean, this is going to be another good year. I look forward from Shire and Duke, but yeah, he's not shying away from any of that so-called pressure that there was by at least a lot of the media and fans taking over for a legend.
Hey, George, great segue to Cooper Flag, because you know what? When he was coming out, his projected contract was 4 years at $62 million. Candy, why don't you actually go ahead and get the actual contract? I know it was projected when he was coming out. But great segue, George, because that's why I wanted to bring in Shire, because it was going to lead to the obvious Cooper Flag thing. Candy, while she goes ahead and gets that research done, what are your thoughts about Jacob Cooper Flag being a product of John Shire, and talk about Cooper Flag, your observations on him as a player? This guy's pretty good.
Oh, you know, the big thing about it with Cooper Flag was the fact that when I saw him, I wanted him to stay at least. That I knew it wasn't going to happen because it's the NBA and it's the pay, but I was having hope against hope for NIL to keep him there, because I wanted to see if he could win a national title for Duke. He is that good. But one thing that I'm going to be worried about, and I saw him in a couple of the games in the tournament, mind you, it's a college and pros. He's going to mature as a player. But one of the things I saw is a couple of those games, he just felt off. Was it pressure? Were there good defenses? What is it? That's the one thing I always worried about. Now it makes you wonder about the NBA. It's like, will he have certain struggles, and will the fans and all of the media and everybody else bring up the contract? And it's of course he's a rookie and he's too young, but that won't stop anybody.
So, Scott, the answer is number 1 overall pick in the 2025 NBA draft. Flag's rookie contract will be a 4-year, $62.7 million deal. If he meets the criteria to earn a supermax at the end of that contract, Flag can receive a 5-year contract, $359 million deal for his second contract. So 62.7 for 4 years.
Thank you, Candy. Well, while you're talking about, what are your thoughts about Cooper Flag being with the Mavericks? I think obviously the guy's going to have a heck of a year anyways.
You know, the one thing that NBA does a little differently is they have the lottery thing. So it's not necessarily the worst team that he's going to, kind of like the NFL, where, you know, you're going to a really bad team. Kudos to him, Cooper Flag. I think he'll definitely be an impact player, and be an impact player quickly.
Tommy?
Yeah, the thing about Cooper Flag is, getting back to what we were talking about, Shire doing the recruiting. He was the one who recruited Cooper Flag. And in fact, Coach K's last year on the bench, he made a point of not doing any of the recruiting. He didn't want to recruit kids and then not be their coach the next year. So that was all part of his plan, his transition plan, that he was going to coach one last year, and he wanted his successor to be on the bench next to him. And there was actually 3, 4, 5 guys that are head coaches from Duke that under Coach K's tree that could have been candidates and had been assistant coaches. And I think it was Tommy Amaker. Is Tommy Amaker the one at Harvard, or is he at Central Florida? Yeah, Dawkins is at Central Florida. Amaker was very interested in the job, but he wasn't going to give up his Harvard job to be an assistant coach at Duke for that one last year. And that's what Coach K wanted out of his succession plan. And he was very clear on this. A lot of people didn't really understand it. They thought that he was too manipulative picking Shire. But Coach K is a West Point grad, did his 5-year stint in the Army, and then coached at Army. And he was very clear on this when he stepped down, that he wanted a succession plan similar to the Army. When the Army names a new general to be the head of a base, he doesn't come in one day and take over. There's a transition period where the former boss and the new boss are working together. And that's what Coach K wanted, with Shire on the bench and is his successor. Shire was already entrenched in the recruiting, and we're seeing it's worked out exactly the way Coach K had hoped.
So who hasn't commented? You, Marvin?
Yeah, so I mean, great points, Tom. Again, that speaks back to culture, and leadership, and being strategic, and having a plan, and putting ego aside. I mean, just look at the leadership of a Coach K and the Duke administration versus how Jerry Jones runs his organization, and the chaos and the circus and the ego. I'm serious though, and you wonder why he hasn't been successful, at least without Jimmy Johnson. But Coach K epitomizes, class and what it is to be a real leader, and you see that in how they went about getting the next coach in there. The crazy thing for Cooper Flagg, and what you hate for him, is he took a pay cut going to the NBA. he made $28 million in his first year at Duke from 2 deals, and based on the numbers Candy's saying, what's he making in the NBA? 22, 23, 24 million? I'm not saying that's chump change, but just think about, we live in a world where a kid who's making over $20 million in pro sports is taking a pay cut from what he made in college. Again, capitalism has no mercy. The players benefit greatly. And, 28 mil as a freshman. Wow.
Almost as much as you got, Marvin.
We don't talk about that. This it's a different day. I don't know what you're talking about, Jacob.
Yeah.
and I didn't contribute yet, Scott, but I just wanted to add, this guy, there's a lot of pressure on him, but he did very well in his first game down there for the exhibition season. I mean, what can you say? He was AP Player of the Year and all the accolades, the Wooden Award, the Dr. J Award. He won everything. And he is a good player, and no question about that. A lot of pressure on him, but he's got to remember that it takes time too. And despite all the money that he's making, Cooper Flagg is going to be going through some growing pains as a rookie in the NBA. The kid's only 18. I think he turns 19 in December. So he's got a lot of moxie, a lot of determination, and obviously great pedigree, like you guys said, from Duke and from and Mike Krzyzewski and his successor, right?
So everybody contributed?
Yeah.
Bottom line is Cooper Flagg's a heck of a player. Dallas Mavericks are lucky they ended up getting him. Talk about getting lucky in the lottery at the right time. They did definitely get him. Everybody thought that when, who was it? Oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Got traded to the Lakers. Help me out. I'm drawing a blank. Shouldn't. The guy's overweight all the time. Any clues out there? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
When you said overweight all the time, that's usually Zion.
Yeah, no, that's okay. No, but yeah, the reality is they were fortunate that they ended up getting it right. The number 1 pick, because now they have a good building block. When Kyrie Irving gets healthy, this team's going to be dangerous with the group that they have there. And when Anthony Davis is right, the Dallas Mavericks will be better than most people think. They got new ownership. Mark Cuban's out of there. But nonetheless, this team's a force to be reckoned with. For Luka Doncic. All right, there you go. Thanks. All right, we'll continue on the basketball theme. The title of the show is What Could Have Been, Chicago Bulls Dynasty of the 1990s. Well, Tommy, if anybody could be connected with this and knows this well, it's you with Michael Jordan, who took a shot at LeBron James when discussing how many titles that he would have had in Chicago if the 1998 team was never broken up. We could have won 7, 8, 9. Of course, he's being sarcastic because the LeBron thing, he obviously knows, and letting him know who the real king of the hill is. So LeBron James, I'll get laughed at this. I wouldn't put him in my top 5 or 10 players when you look at the history of the NBA. I wouldn't. That's just me. But Michael Jordan, no problem. I'll put him there easily at the top. What are your thoughts about this? When you look at Jordan, he had 6, but he could have had 9 or 10 easily if it wasn't broken up, Tommy.
I guess so.
Well, he had 6.
I just always thought there was nobody that really challenged the Bulls in those days. After the Lakers dynasty faded, there was just a lull with other teams, and they really didn't have to beat a lot of great teams. I don't know. Would they have beaten the Rockets with Hakeem in '94 if
One of them.
Jordan hadn't retired to baseball? I don't know.
One
They
of
beat
them.
Detroit.
Okay, that's interesting. All right, so let me ask you this, Tommy. MJ and LeBron, who you got?
Pippen.
No, not Scottie Pippen. He wasn't a choice.
Yeah, that was the other thing that holds me back on the Bulls because I always have thought Pippen was overrated.
Me
He
too.
wouldn't have been as good without Jordan, and he proved that when he was no longer playing with Jordan. He went to other teams.
Exactly.
But anyways, so Jordan or LeBron James, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jordan.
Okay, Candy. Well, would have been.
Jordan all day long.
You think he was online when he taking his shots at LeBron? Nowadays, everybody's taking shots at LeBron. I just figured I'd pull this one out of my pocket and bring it to the forefront since we have a lot of North Carolina talk in this show.
I think the 90s Bulls played a different style of basketball than they play now. So do I think it's better? I think the old school basketball is better than the new school basketball.
Yeah, of course, didn't hurt to have Dennis Rodman in there either. Marvin?
Without question, if they kept that team together in '98, they would have won more championships. As Tom said, no one could touch them. These guys are playing at the top of their game. Jordan was playing great that season in his last year there, and there was nobody who would look at it and say they would challenge that team. So yeah, I would definitely assume they'd win more championships. Listen, basketball is big on metrics. They call LeBron James the king. What he is the king. He's the king because he has all the records. He's going to have all the records. Obviously, most championships is the biggest one. And that's our man out in Boston. But in the modern game, it's Michael Jordan, so right. And we count in championships is the major metric. And I get that. But what about the points? Don't tell me that doesn't matter. The points record was held by Kareem for decades, You've had many great players from Kareem's retirement till today who don't even come close to that. LeBron did it. Longevity matters, being able to keep your body and stay in shape, your commitment to excellence, that matters. So, I believe that LeBron James is the king. I believe that Michael Jordan is the GOAT. If you're asking me who I take, I'm taking the GOAT every day, all day. Michael Jordan was an assassin. He was a Hall of Fame player on offense and defense, and he gave you your money's worth. This guy's playing 80 game seasons, 81 game seasons, 82 game seasons like it's nothing, and playing at a high level, both sides of the ball. The ultimate competitor. He's still a competitor. That's why he's talking junk to LeBron James, who's playing. He feels that pressure a little bit. He knows he's the guy. He was the first one to really take basketball to a certain level economically. He changed the business of the game, which really made him who he is, along with those championships. But LeBron James has records. Metrics matter. Records matter. And when he says he's the king of the game, I can give him that. But like I said, I got to give Mike the title as GOAT.
Marvin, I just want to add to what he was saying, because he was asking about who has the most championships. Bill Russell with 11.
There you go.
He always gets forgotten.
Yeah, which is sad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not to mention an Olympic gold medal and back-to-back NCAA titles.
Yeah, he needs Twitter. If he gets Twitter, he'll blow up. He'll be back.
Okay. You get me riled up bringing up LeBron to just forget King.
Of course, why do you think I try to bring you on here to get you riled up? You're easy.
I'm sorry, Marvin. When you're a Larry Bird guy like I am, and you remember the guy played through a back so bad he should have been in a wheelchair, and this guy flops. When you touch him with a fingernail, it's like, no. Yeah, he's got the points. Yes, he's got all of those. He has everything. He does have 4 titles. He'll get no more. Never again. But there is zero chance of him having that. It's about as much chance for him to get another title as Caleb Williams to go without fingernail polish. But biggest thing to say about this is the fact that we're talking about. I brought up Bird earlier. that he goes with Jordan. They were men. They were assassins.
Yeah.
They were assassins. The reason I can't put it on LeBron is because you put LeBron in the 90s and he would die because there would be nothing to flop. No, I'm sorry. It's the style of the game.
I agree.
He flops around. He flops around and fakes pain on JJ Barea. That's just. I mean, he is. Here's one of the things. He's either a horrible actor or he has the worst pain tolerance for a guy with muscles I've ever seen. You have a body like that. You need to be a little bit of a bully. You don't need to be faking it to the refs. But the thing about it, yeah, he would have in the 90s. It's because I'm saying he would have been carted off because he can't do it because the way he acts like when he gets pain in the first place. But it's a different style of game. But you had an assassin with Michael. You had that. But I'm going to say this with Michael also. I'm not sure they beat San Antonio in 99. I'm not sure of that. They were getting older. But Pippen's back was bad. Jordan's knees were starting to get a little bit there. Then they're all getting older. And then you have a younger San Antonio team. I'm not sure if the Bulls win any more than those 6 in the first place. And after one loss, it had been over anyway. But I'm not sure of the thing. But that 6 was amazing. But MJ, you talk about assassin. You talk about almost ridiculous competitive fire. And I mean, 80, 81, 82 games. You brought that up, and he just keep playing. And he did not lose 3 in a row from 90 to 98, not once.
Well, keep in mind, one thing you're missing here is Michael Jordan didn't take games off either. He could play 82, he would. And I can only imagine LeBron James would get outsmarted by Larry Bird, and he would get hammered by the bad boys. I mean, and Jordan had to deal with all that. So part of you there is Jacob, and the other part of you isn't. So if you're watching baseball and I only see half of you, then that's okay too. If I see all of you, then I know you have incredible technology.
Let me bring this one thing before I know we need to get to George here. But sorry about that, by the way. No,
that's all right.
Just bringing these whole deals up, and I'm not saying it for style points, nor am I saying it for skill, because I know what the skill is with LeBron, Marvin. I know this. It's not that part. It's just the lawyers and the agents and Adam Silver, the walking condom. I am telling you right now, every bit of it. They changed the style of the game for a guy like LeBron. It's like, but you all with the bad habits that LeBron has. He has caused athletes, 350-pound athletes, like from high schools and colleges, to flop. Such bad habits just to think that that's good instead of manning up on anything. They flop to get penalties. He flopped to get fouls. He started that stupid thing, and now everybody does it. They think that's the right thing, and then you'll get people calling him they call him the biggest badass in the history of the NBA, and he could be in MMA. That's just a generation that doesn't understand what badass is.
George?
Well, I'll tell you like this, Jacob.
Oh, go ahead.
You can't be the all-time leading scorer and not be a badass.
I'm talking about if I know. I'm saying this part. I know what he did for his body. The thing is, all the stuff that he pretends to be, like tough guy or whatever, he's not. He pretends he's reading books. He's on the first 2 pages of every picture. He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to do all of that because he is the all-time lead scorer. He is all of that kind of stuff like that. He made the I Promise school. He's done these things. He doesn't have to pretend. He does.
He's been the best thing for the NBA.
He's the worst thing for the NBA.
No, come on, Jacob.
I can't wait till he's gone.
Come on.
I cannot wait for he's gone. He has caused more bad habits. He has caused more bad habits for athletes on TikTok. They all that flopping, all of the taking time off. He has caused the bad habits. I mean, yeah, he's a businessman, and he's one of the greatest businessmen we've ever seen in our lives. But let me say that the biggest thing about it is, as far as a killer instinct, he doesn't have Jordan's killer instinct.
Well,
George. Yeah, I'm just going to close it out. And the things that I look at, especially from Jordan, I mean, 6 times the NBA Finals MVP and scoring champion, as we know, 8, 9, 10 times. I lost count.
9.
But then look at his all defensive first team. All defensive first team. So this man was not only a scorer, but you guys are right. He was a man who was not afraid to take punishment and give it out. Jordan was all defensive first team for like 8-10 years again during his career. And I tell you what, no way would I put LeBron ahead of him. But I'm not going to go that far, is what you did, Jacob. I'm not going to go that far in saying all of his nasty bad habits. He's been a lot to this league, but no, he is not Michael Jordan, and he never will be, because I look at this as Jordan being far ahead of him as far as the top 5 goes, like you said earlier, Scott.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's just habits for the other athletes that grew up with him. He just brought so many bad ones. I mean, I know his skills. I'm not saying he doesn't have skills. I'm not saying he isn't the all-time great scorer. I'm not saying he's not one of the all-time greats. But it makes me irritated when you see so much load management. He started that. When you see someone flopping on the floor, he started that. You see so much of this stuff with all this stuff. You see all of this. You'll see him on TikTok, on YouTube. You see high schoolers follow all this stuff. You see the college people follow all this stuff. It's just bad habits.
Well, here's what you have. Okay, number one, as I said, what could have been Chicago Bulls dynasty of the 1990s, I think they could have gotten another title or two easily. As far as Michael Jordan is concerned over LeBron James, this isn't even close. Michael Jordan all day long, period. All right, we're going to USC, but not this time for the Wolverines and the Trojans, but we're going to talk women's basketball. USC star Juju Watkins announces that she will miss the entire 2025 season as she continues to recover from an ACL injury that she suffered in March. She's hoping to be back, obviously, next year. Marvin, it's your own monitor. What are your thoughts about Juju Watkins? I was looking forward to seeing her play in the women's Final Four. Unfortunately, the injury didn't allow us, but what a young, gifted athlete she is.
Yeah, great segue for Michael Jordan because she's the
Exactly.
Michael Jordan of college basketball without question. She's a generational player. When you think about the greatest players in the history of college basketball, women's college basketball, already you have to say her name, and that's who she is. She got injured during the NCAA tournament. It was obviously early in the year, in the calendar year. And I realized when she got hurt, just the timing of it with the ACL, she was going to probably have to miss the next season. I realized that months ago. It is heartbreaking because she's a movement. She is she's inspired, so many people to watch the game. And really coming off the year before where it was all about Caitlin Clark, I think you see Juju Watkins kind of fill that void and become the star of women's college basketball. So really sad to see her out. We're still going into this season as the number 17 team, preseason number 17. We just signed the number 1 player in the nation who will be with us, Jazzy Crooms, I believe. And we have Kennedy Smith and a few other players. So USC basketball is going to be competitive this year. We expect them to be competitive to get into the tournament and make a run. But without your Michael Jordan, this is going to be tough. Again, Juju was putting up gaudy numbers on her way to being selected as Player of the Year in college basketball.
Tommy?
Yeah, the thing I remember about Juju, she's a great player. The thing I remember is you heard a lot of build-up about her as when she first got there as a young player. And a lot of times when you hear somebody build up like that and you finally see them play, you're kind of let down. But she is everything she was said to be and has produced from day one. And, she's a tremendous player. I like watching her play. And the other thing that I guess is worth noting about her is she's come along in the NIL age, so she's missing a whole year. But I'm sure she's still able to cash in like a player a decade ago couldn't have while missing a whole year. And maybe not being the same player when they come back because of the injury. So there's another benefit of NIL that maybe we don't think about as much.
George?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up, Scott, because, she is a great player, Juju. And, when she went out last year and sidelined for after that injury, like you guys said, that really took the spark away from Southern Cal. But they still, like you said, Marvin, they still got a great program. They're highly rated. They're highly favored in the Big Ten race again this year, the Trojans. It's going to be tough, though. I mean, to take somebody of that magnitude and that ability and the strengths that she has, both offensively and defenses, and now she's going to be sidelined for the season, as you said, recovering from that ACL. I just wish her the best, and I'm sure that her eyes are focused too, probably on a career as a professional with the WNBA. But let's take first things first. You got to try to win. You got to pull the team together, as I know Coach will do, and pull it together and try to accomplish feat number one, which is to win the Big Ten title this year. But it's going to be a loss, no question.
Jacob?
I'll have to say this, Marvin, how right you are with Juju. I have to say this part here. I was sad when I heard this.
Yeah.
Sad because everybody was bringing up the Caitlin and Angel Reese rivalry, which are two different type players. I wouldn't really call in that one. I wasn't going against Angel. What I was saying was I wanted Juju in the NBA and watch those two go at it.
Mm-hmm.
Their styles are just so similar and everything like that. And it's made me sad. It's a double sad because Caitlin and Juju both had the injuries. And you have all this, and it's like, and you just can't tell. And I kind of hate seeing this because she absolutely positively she could have brought more ratings for that and for the college game, kind of like that from whatsoever, because she is fun to watch. And what worries me now is because it always worries me when somebody has a bad knee in college, whether it's football, basketball, or whatever. How bad does it linger? Let's hope this fixes it and she can have a long career because she is fun to watch. I just hope it doesn't linger going into the W.
Who's left?
I am.
Good.
Andy.
So one of the things that she said in her statement, these last few months have been filled with a lot of healing, rest, and reflection. Recovering from this injury hasn't been easy, and I want to say thank you. Your love, support, and kind words have truly lifted me up during one of the most challenging times in my life. Because you've been with me every step of the way, I wanted you to hear it from me directly that following the advice of my doctors and trainers, I will sit out this season and fully focus on continuing to recover so I can come back to the game I love. That had to take a lot of guts, and that had to be hard, but in the long run, she's better for it because sometimes people rush back from injuries, I think, and they try and push themselves and they play and they re-injure, or they're more prone to get injuries, or they sustain what could be a lifelong problem. So I give her a lot of credit for her to sit down and listen to the doctors and trainers and say, this is what's best for me and my health above anything else, because you don't hear that all the time. And I'm going to miss her not being out there, but I hope she can fully recover from this, during this year.
Well, Marvin said it from the start. Juju Watkins, right? Okay. Michael Jordan, great segue. What more do I need to say?
Yeah.
All right. I'll tell you what, let's go to college football. Get this. You want to talk about how far they schedule these things out? The next furthest contracted game is on September 10th, 2039. Troy is at Army 15 years in advance. It's the furthest college football game on record, and the game is scheduled in 2040. Tommy, how does this stuff happen?
But they're scheduled that far ahead, you mean?
Yeah.
They're organized.
Yeah, you think? I know you follow the Army, right? Troy, I don't know if I'm gonna be alive to see it, but there'll be a different
Army
thing.
likes one of the things about Army football is they like to play a national schedule. That's one of the reasons they were reluctant to join a conference, the American Conference, and the same was true of Navy before they went in. Is that they have players from all over the country. Every road game they play is a homecoming for somebody on their roster.
Right.
And so they like to play across the country, and they always had that flexibility with the non-conference games. So now they have less flexibility. So maybe that has something to do with scheduling a game down in Alabama. They like to schedule games near military bases too. So it doesn't surprise me, and I don't see a problem with it either.
Hey, Marvin, I know you're going to be in 2040, man. After you get done reading my book and you keep making your progress in the broadcasting ranks, you're going to be on one of the 4 major networks anyhow. So maybe, who knows? Maybe you'll provide the color commentary for this game. All I know is that by the time they schedule this thing out way back in 2040, I will be in a concrete nap up in Wisconsin. I can assure you that. I have a feeling. I believe it. But Marvin, what do you think about?
You're telling Candy that she's failing in her taking
No,
care
she's
of you.
not. That woman here is anything. I'll tell you, she's the reason I'm still doing this stuff. She is, because if it weren't for her, I wouldn't be doing this. But yeah, I mean, our Army is truly 100% run game. And you know what, Earl? There'll be 100% running game in 2040 when I'm doing my concrete nap. And Marvin will be calling the color commentary for this game. Marvin, what do you think about when they schedule this far in advance?
Listen, like Tom, I have tremendous respect for the service academies and their football team. Well aware of Army and who they were in the 1940s, Army, Navy. And, you know, I'm someone who has many family members. Like one of our last comments was from my cousin Earl, who was in the Army. Many family members who served. So absolutely got love for them. Listen, this is business. They're figuring out their money and how they can, you know, stay relevant and play teams and play big teams. I don't think Troy's a big school, but you know, the way this thing's realigning and the way the money's being thrown around, they're just trying to solidify their spot, get their schedule straight, and you know, just make sure that they have teams to play in the future, man, and get something in writing, get something contractual. This is just business.
I'll go on record right now that in 2040, Jacob Christner will have a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Well, I'll also be 58 years old with probably a 4 and 2-year-old in the house running around.
And by the way, Jacob, that's a segue for tomorrow's show on No Limits, just so you know.
Yeah.
All right. So with that said, what do you think about them scheduling a college football game that far out? Army, Troy.
Well, sort of. This is the thing. You're probably going to see this more and more as the time goes on. Like when 2030, 2035 hits, you're probably going to see the next one in 2056. It's because here's another thing to realize also. You realize that people that did the scheduling before, like in the years and years before that, were older people. Everybody that has these jobs now are younger. Right. They might be around for a while. So they're probably thinking way far ahead like that. There are probably 25, 30-year-olds doing this, and they're probably thinking, well, they're going to be ahead. They're probably thinking 15, 20 years. You never know. And by that point, the way things change, Army might be a 4-3 defense with a big 400-yard passers.
Yeah, and Bucky Morganroth will be going out there and running through, breaking tackles, while Boots will be all doing the tush push. That's my other cat. Go figure. Right. Boots, my tuxedo cat, will be doing the tush push, and Bucky will be flying over tackle, scoring touchdown. Great stuff. I couldn't help it. I got to get my cats up there a little bit. And this is perfect. George, you getting any of this?
Oh, yeah. This is an interesting discussion. I mean, I know college football schedules are made up in advance, but this is crazy. Non-conference, I've seen them as far as 7 years out, but you know, I know that they already had games scheduled. They said, in 2030, 31. This is really interesting though, because there has been a lot of good service academy football. Let's be honest, in the past dozen years or so. You know, it started with Air Force, and then of course Navy's played very well. Army's played very well recently. So in addition to all their academic and going through military school, etc., they have fielded some darn good football teams. So I applaud Troy, which is a small college, as you guys said, of going out there years in advance with these specific goals in mind, to play Army and adding these games to the future series. I think it's great stuff. I really do.
What about you, Candy?
For the small schools, this is great marketing because this also helps you recruit because you've scheduled some of these games way out in advance. So kudos to them. I mean, I think that it's smart. It gives them, they know who they're going to be playing, and it'll make it easier for the schedule makers.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what.
Let me add one more thing about Army football,
Sure.
military football in general, because this was such an interesting comment. Ruffin McNeil used to be the head coach at East Carolina,
Right.
and then he was late. In fact, his offensive coordinator was Lincoln Riley. And when Lincoln Riley was the head coach at Oklahoma, he brought Ruffin back with him. And 1 year, Army played at Oklahoma, and Oklahoma had to go to overtime to beat them because Army had controlled the ball so much. Kyler Murray was never on the field. And Ruffin McNeil talked about going against the academy teams because he also had to play Navy annually when he was at East Carolina. And he said he used to always tell his players, these guys aren't as heavily as recruited as you were. But let me tell you this, they aren't going to be afraid of you. And that's the way they played.
That's a good one, Tom. I love it.
Don't worry, you'll have more when you do the Shanahan report later as well. I'll tell you what, we're going to go to some of the schedule way sooner than that game. UNC and Butler will start a home-and-home series in Chapel Hill during the 2026-27 series. I'll tell you one thing, this will be a pretty good little matchup because when they get to Hinkle Fieldhouse, you talk about where Hoosiers was filmed, but Hoosier, when you think of Butler in North Carolina, it's pretty interesting. Tommy, what do you think about how that one was handled there? I kind of like this. I'm intrigued by Butler in North Carolina.
North Carolina's going to play at Butler? Is that it?
Well, it's a home-and-home series between the two, and which actually starts in 2026.
Yeah, that's good. That's great. It's not surprising coming from North Carolina. They have great tradition in North Carolina and great respect for tradition and history. Hubert Davis goes back all the way to, he was a player there and then a longtime assistant coach. And so it's all connected with Dean Smith and Roy Williams. So it doesn't surprise me a bit. It's very typical of North Carolina.
Candy?
The teams obviously will play in Chapel Hill either November or December of 2026 before the Bulldogs host the Tar Heels at Hinkle Fieldhouse in either November or December of 2027. The two programs have split 6 previous meetings. The teams first met during the 1928-29 season, with Butler winning at Hinkle Fieldhouse. UNC won the only meeting that took place at Chapel Hill back in '94. So the 3 most recent games have all been played on neutral courts. And North Carolina has been ranked among the top 10 nationally in each of the tips. But I think it's good. I think it's good for teams to play some of the noteworthy schools, and that they haven't played in a long time. So I think it's good to bring some new blood and some new matchups for us to like and get excited for.
Yeah, when this one came up, this was a no-brainer for sure. Hey, Earl, thank you very much. We appreciate you being there. I hope you're a subscriber for the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel, and please put the alerts on. We enjoy having you in here. You're a great contributor in the chat room. We need more like you, Earl. So great stuff. Your contributions have been nothing short of outstanding with 5 million exclamation points. Thanks, Earl. You're the real deal. Okay, Marvin.
This is great for college basketball. These are 2 proud programs, obviously different level. Butler's a smaller school, and but they've been to the national title in the last 5 to 7 years. I don't know when that was. They made a run, and they were on the national scene. People know who they are. And Chapel Hill is, again, here we go to the third segue. Michael Jordan. Chapel Hill is Chapel Hill. So they are at the mountaintop with Duke and Kentucky and that school across town in Los Angeles, just as an all-time team. And it'll be great. It'll be great for the fans, great for their alum, and I look forward to watching that game.
Jacob.
Well, I love what he said. Army is the way. Army, that kind of stuff. Just wait till Space Force gets a football team, okay? I mean, they're really going to take it. But
come on.
But no, one of the things about it is I remember it was 2015, I believe, when Butler almost won that game with a bit of a half-court shot against Duke. But one of the things that I was at 20, it was something today, but it was really a little farther back than we think. But one of the things that we see with Butler is the fact that all of these times, everybody's talking about that they're a smaller team and stuff. How do we know they're not going to be a powerhouse by that point? And right. I mean, I came from a school called Lee University in Tennessee, but I helped with a movie called Keep the Flame Alive. They're NAIA, and that was a miracle to make NAIA. Now they're the full-fledged Division II. Who knows if they start winning and go D1? We go back to these points. You never know if things go quicker. So, I mean, Butler could be the powerhouse by that point. We're talking smaller school right now. They could easily be a powerhouse and win 2 national titles. We don't know, and there's no saying no to that.
George?
Yeah, and just to follow up with what Candy was saying, North Carolina, Butler have met 6 times, but the two programs are completely different in many ways. Obviously, a big powerhouse against a smaller school, but that Sweet 16 of 2017, I believe it was, when the Tar Heels beat Butler 92-80, it says, in Memphis. This is good, and it's not way out like the other series we talked about in football. This is coming up rather quickly. As you mentioned, 2026 season and the 2027 back at Hinkle. It's going to be fun. And Butler has done a nice job, let's face it, in college basketball for many years now. They've done a really good job. So I'm happy for them. And like you guys were saying, who knows, maybe they'll be one of the powerhouses back then. But obviously, when you sign up to play North Carolina, you better be ready because it's going to be a hell of a game and a hell of an effort, even if it is a couple of years in the future. But I'm glad they're doing this. This is great stuff.
Well, I like this matchup. I really do. I mean, you talk about the Hinkle Fieldhouse in history. Butler has a much bigger history than most people really think that they do. And we all know about UNC. Everybody talk about this whole thing?
Yep.
Okay, well, good. Let's go back to the first week of the college football season when Ohio State brought in a bag. I'll tell you, week 1 versus Texas, get this, they got $18 million. And I mean, against the Texas Longhorns, according to AD Ross Bjork, he told inside the boardroom, the game drove $18 million in ticket sales and a school record of $3 million concessions. You talk about a home run at the box office, Tommy. This one was definitely it.
That's what was the best part about it, because Texas has gone downhill ever since then.
Okay, we started there. So we'll be talking more about them on Tuesday next week. But go ahead, take the lead on this
matchup. Yeah, Ohio State, they have a cash register there, and they just keep ringing it up.
$18 million. That just blows me away. $18 million in ticket, $3 million concessions. Candy, what do you think about this?
I mean, it was one of the premier matchups for that weekend, and everybody was talking about it for how long. And so, I mean, they were going to sell out, of course. Everybody, I believe, was that a day game or was it a night game? I don't remember.
I believe it was a day game, if I remember.
Yeah.
I mean, a day game, people are going to be thirsty. Let's face it, the sun, you're sitting in an outdoor stadium. You want concessions are going to, skyrocket. Good kudos to Ohio State.
Marvin?
When you see these kind of numbers, you realize it's never not about football. This is big business, and it blows my mind that the storm is kind of quieted down a little bit. The noise is quieted down about NIL and the people being upset because players are getting paid. It blows my mind how much money these players are generating, how many billions of dollars are being generated on the backs of these players. And you have people who really had a problem with them, getting a piece of it. Whatever was agreed upon in the settlement, the schools are making over like a fat rat. You don't hear the presidents and the ADs complaining because they're making big money. These schools is making, $200 million plus a year just on football. It's the biggest business on campus. So listen, doesn't surprise me. These are mega programs. These stadium fees and the food and the drinks. Some of these costs are high. And when you pack stadiums with a bunch of loyal fan base, they're gonna spend that money, and you see it. Listen, we're talking about that game. Look at what they make every game, regardless of who they're playing. These major programs. So this is big business. The numbers and the reality of the business is now being told. We're seeing it, and good for the game, great for the players.
Jacob.
Look, no, you got the wrong numbers there, Candy. The $18 million was actually what went to Matthew McConaughey to pump up the Texas to lose another game. The big thing about it is the fact that this is why that's you never know about these players, like we were bringing up from the last time, of who can make it, who's going to have the money. See, one of the biggest, I can say this, I brought up my school earlier. They don't have a football team and they won't. But one of the things that they remind me of is years and years ago, they made a student union for like $25 million from Richard DeVos, who was with the Orlando Magic. He went to the league. So he got that kind of thing. So you never know who goes to these little schools who could put that kind of money out there and make them big very, very fast. And so Ohio State getting that kind of money, of course, they paid the most to get the national title last year. Congratulations to them. Texas pays the most to, get 8 wins. Congratulations to them. But the thing is, it is going to be the pay. And it's like, one thing that I hope from this, and I hope this happens, is I hope that some of these players have better NIL money, that they stay at these schools for a while, instead of going straight to the NFL. And
You've already seen it.
What?
You've already seen it. It's already happening.
And I hope that thing, because I hope Shedeur Sanders, I'm not saying this is part of the thing, I'm saying this. I hope the Shedeur Sanders thing is a cautionary tale and they stay a bit. I really do, because college football can only benefit from that. Getting the better players. It's like, I'm not saying that Shedeur is bad or doing anything. What I'm saying is, just what happened and the whole ramifications of everything. I just hope people think about it a little bit and stay in college.
Hey, Tommy, I have a few more football topics. Can you stay on for the rest of the football and go? It's only about 10 or 15 minutes. Is that okay, or is that a little bit too late for you?
No, that's okay.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that's okay with you, because I do have some football. George, you got the last word on this, and a few more football topics. And Tommy has the Shanahan report. When we go to the basketball and non-sports, he doesn't have to worry about the rest of those. Since he's on inside the pigskin, I want to make sure he gets a piece of the pigskin action. Okay, go ahead, George.
Yeah, just it is. College football is such a big business right now, like you guys have said. And that game was touted. That was touted big time. Ohio State playing Texas. And last year, the University of Michigan played Texas. This year, Michigan played Oklahoma. I'd like to see these games that we normally don't see, these rivalries that have been unfortunately extinct for quite a number of years. I think this is important to college football. The payouts are unbelievable. When you have big stadiums like that, Michigan and Ohio State and Penn State and Tennessee, all these great big stadiums, it's no wonder that these payouts are so huge. But the commercial aspect and obviously the advertising drives all these prices as well. And, the college football is just, like the farm team of the NFL. So these big payouts are going to continue and even get higher, I think. Yeah.
George, amazingly how you mentioned that too. Candy, I'll bring in a second. We're going to have a future segment on some of the bigger stadiums on Inside the Pigskin and how many of our athletes on the show have been there. That's probably in about a week or two, Marvin, just so you know, in a couple of weeks. Good point. Go ahead, Candy.
The only thing I did want to add to all of this discussion is that back in January of 2025, the Ohio State Athletics claims that they operated the previous year with a $37.7 million deficit.
Oh.
So they did not make revenue from all the, we talk about this big business. All this football money comes in, but we forget there's coaches' salaries. There's all kinds of other expenses, NIL, trying to, figure out the whole scheme of things. Ohio State, with all that money that they took in, last year, they operated on a deficit of $37.7 million.
Great stuff, Candy. All right. You know what? I'll go to one more football topic. We'll go to a station break, and then we'll have a couple more football topics go. Then the Shanahan report will be as Tommy gets ready to go. He can give us a little overview there. And that's it. We started our evening off with no limits. Now I have another thing related to no limits. One armed Northwestern running back has no limits. Albert Kunik III is having a childhood dream to play Division I football. So Albert Kunik III is living out his childhood dream to play Division I football. Tommy, what are your thoughts about? I told you I come up with some interesting ones. Now we got a guy with one arm, with no limits, with his Division I living out his Division I college football. Any thoughts?
Is he a freshman? I haven't heard about this guy.
I don't know, but Candy, knowing her, she'll find it. But just think, a guy with one arm playing Division
Well,
I.
yeah, I
football.
wonder what kind of a player he was in high school, and to end up at Northwestern, he had to be pretty good. Yeah, it's a great story. More power to him. You know, and he's not the first one though. Was it Central Florida, UCF that had the guy with at least.
Oh yeah, Shaq Griffin, right?
Yeah, there were the two brothers. One was almost an All-American level player, and then his brother had a deformed arm or something, but he was a very good player. So, hey, more power to him.
Hey, listen, he's going to journalism school anyways. My gosh, I mean, he's smart there. He'll know what we talk about, but the fact that he's playing football, he'll know exactly what's going on. So I figured, hey, we got a show with no limits. We got to go out there and probably our show in addition to talk about this guy. Candy, you have anything on this guy?
I'm still doing research, so
Go ahead, Marvin.
Listen, it is highly impressive. I'm highly impressed, and just speaks to his passion and commitment and dedication. It's hard for me to believe that a person with one arm can compete in college football. Just with my understanding of how the game is played and what my mentality was as a lead block, as a run block and fullback. But kudos to him. It's great for the game. It's a great story. It's going to inspire a lot of people who are dealing with stuff much less than what he has. So, hey, good for you. Go get it.
Jacob, he's in your backyard.
Absolutely. And I absolutely understand that. And let me tell you this, Marvin, between the 59-year-old that's playing as a freshman in college, the one-armed guy,
Yeah.
You are ready for your comeback. I know you have no pain whatsoever. I know you're into perfect shape. You're ready. I know it's your time.
Hey, listen, I'm trying to get to the Hall of Fame of podcasting with Scott. I'm chasing Scott right now. I'm not chasing Tom Brady. I'm not chasing these. I want to be Scott.
You're not chasing me. You're on my team. You're not chasing me. You're with me.
You know what I mean.
Chasing is a different story. Wait. I'm the professor and you're the pupil here, my brother. You ain't chasing me. You're on my team, and you're winning, brother. Don't even go there. You're chasing seriously, really seriously. Oh, come on, Marvin. You're a natural. Marvin. You're like Robert Redford. You're the natural if I ever saw one. Period.
Part of my point I'm going to make here is this is the part of the point I'm going to make here is going to be another subject real quick. Just give you guys that warning. This just shows what physical training does now. You have a one-armed man going into football. You have a 59-year-old going into football. You had all those. I just saw DDP helping Lex Luger get off the wheelchair with
Thank
yoga.
You, Earl, for all the kind words.
You're it's like I saw him. He literally got off of he's getting him off of a wheelchair to try to get him to walk from yoga. It just shows the advancements of physical training now. And what the things that you can be able to do. I mean, there are things like Parkinson's. They do boxing classes and music classes. It's like see, the thing is now anybody that says they can't do it, before they would say can't do it, and it's like you have a 50% thing of somebody saying, yeah, you're right. But you have YouTube. You have all these things now showing that that's wrong. That's just you. That's just you being lazy. So everybody has that option. Everybody has that thing to put that extra mile. So it just shows that right now.
George, or who hasn't spoken on this?
Yeah, I
George.
Yeah, just real quick. This is great news. I always love to see the kids trying out and pushing themselves even more and more. You know, sometimes on your local newscast too, you'll see where a high school team one of the kids is in a special needs program of some sort, and they'll help him, with the huddle, and then carry him across the goal line and that kind of stuff, which is great. This I applaud this young man. I think this is a great thing to do. And I know I'm comparing apples and oranges, but boy, oh boy, when you have an injury like that, whether you're in sports or just everyday life, I mean, your challenge is out there. So I think it's great. I give the kid all the credit in the world.
All right, Candy.
So okay, we're going to go back to high school. First of all, he attended Lamont High School in Lamont, Illinois. In his senior season, he rushed for 1,393 yards, 9.1 yards per carry, and scored 22 rushing touchdowns and 2 receiving touchdowns, leading Lamont to Class 6A state quarterfinals, first team All-State. In the second round of states in his senior campaign, he scored 6 touchdowns, also served as a kicker for Lamont. Now, 2022, he did not see any game action with Northwestern. 2023, redshirt first year, he made his college debut against UTEP. 2024, redshirt sophomore, appeared in 3 contests as a redshirt sophomore, logged his first career carry for 3 yards in the fourth quarter of a win against Maryland. He came to Northwestern as a preferred walk-on.
Great stuff. All right. Let's go to New York. Russell Wilson had lost 8 straight games the last time he had ended, obviously dating back to December 8th of 2024. The Giants are Benjamin favor of Jackson Dart. We all know full well, Tommy, that this was a way for Brian Dable to try to save his job. I realize that Dart lost to the New Orleans Saints, but that's what you have up in New York with the Giants. My goodness, it is really rough sledding up there. Russell Wilson, we all know, is going to be traded by the end of the year. Jackson Dart, a good player. Brian Dable, well, get used to what unemployment's going to be like, because it won't be long, because even Dart's not going to save you. What are your thoughts about what's going on with the Giants, Tommy?
Well, Russell Wilson was done last year, and it shows you how desperate the Giants were that they even signed him. Jackson Dart has got to be their future, and they've screwed up their succession plan for a quarterback, and they got themselves with an empty quarterback room, and now they're forced to play this rookie, and hopefully they don't get him beat up. And from what I understand, I haven't watched him play, but from what I understand, he's been very promising in the playing time he's had.
Candy?
How interesting, though, that they have Russell Wilson. Remember, they also have Jameis Winston. And Cincinnati went shopping for a quarterback, and they didn't look at either of them.
Right.
They went with Joe Flacco from Cleveland. So that's really interesting. And Wilson, as much as I loved Wilson, because he played 1 year at Wisconsin, did well. I don't think he has that fire in his, within him anymore. And I think it shows. And sometimes you outlast really what you should. And maybe it's just time for him to retire, but yeah, that's
Marvin.
I'll leave it.
It's funny we talk about Flacco. I think they're at the same point of their career right now. Both these guys, Super Bowl champions, and both these guys were franchise quarterbacks. And now it looks like they're both journeymen, just going to, be bridge quarterbacks, for $10, $15 million a year. It's sad because Russell, in that Cowboy game, he threw for 450 yards. He's made some plays. He's looked okay at times. Jackson Dart's the future. Dayball's trying to save his job, as you said, Scott. He's going with the young gun. There are 12 more games to be played. There's a lot of football to be played. This kid will gain more confidence every game. The game will slow down a little bit. But at the same time, when these defensive coordinators kind of figure out what you can do and what you can't do, they're going to force your hand and put you in a bad position, and they can do that. They do that. So This would be interesting. It'd be listen if they win, if they go on a run and they win the last 8 games of the season, maybe they have some. If they go on, they go on a run and they go 6-2 last 8 games of the season, we'll see. But Dart's a player. He was good at USC, and I think he'll be okay in the pros.
Jacob?
Well, just think of it this way: you got Jackson Dart and you got Cam Scatterboo, and they're like wine from Costco, the exciting whites. But the thing is, they're going to be fun. They're going to be fun to see. New York Giants usually don't have a whole lot to look forward to. I mean, they get excited 2 years in a row for Tommy DeVito because they could do this. They could do this all the time, and they could talk about the cutlets, and they go have all that kind of stuff. That's how bad off it's been. They're going to have, regardless of how they do the rest of the year, they're going to have fun there. Scatterboo, I mean, he eats crayons and paste and just bangs through you. He has absolutely no brain with the game whatsoever. He's fun to watch like that. And Dart, he runs and he makes some good plays, and he's definitely reading the field better than Russell Wilson. I mean, but one good thing about Russell Wilson, at least he'll have time to do more dips on the sidelines.
George?
I'm not giving up totally on Russell, but boy, it sure looks bleak right now with the Giants. I mean, he had those great years like you were talking about, Marvin, in Seattle, and then Denver for a couple of years, and Pittsburgh, of course, and that didn't work out either a year ago. His numbers just are not there. The numbers have dropped so much. His completion rates and his interceptions has increased, and even his yards average on a pass has decreased the last few years. A great career, but he just doesn't seem. I think you're right there, Candy. No fire in the belly, as they say. Maybe there's something lacking there. I know he's got a home life, but all the players have that. He's got a wonderful family, I'm sure, and I don't know. I mean, at his age, it doesn't look good right now, and I think the Giants are doing the right thing, Scott, in bringing the youngster on board and starting him instead.
Well, I'll summarize it this way. Russell Wilson should have been with the Raiders, and he should have been with Pete Carroll, and I'll leave it at that. So, Tommy, 2 more football topics to get to, then the Shanahan report that will take it the rest of the way. Number one, we all knew the Baltimore Ravens were a train wreck early in the year because in opening week they had to collapse to the Buffalo Bills, and now John Harbaugh has now blown 17 double-digit half leads, the most by any coach since 1991. Now the narrative gets even worse, okay? The Ravens are on pace to become the first team to allow 600 points, and through week 5, the Ravens have allowed 177 points, and they've gone out there and had 165 all of last season. So let's get back to the first one. Blown 17 double-digit second half leads is unbelievable. And Tommy, it is uncalled for.
Yeah, coaches lose their edge, franchises lose their touch on drafts, developing players. That seems to all be happening in Baltimore. I feel sorry for Lamar Jackson. I've always loved him since he was at Louisville. I always remember at the ACC kickoff media days after he won the Heisman Trophy, he was being questioned about the pressure he was under. How are you going to win another Heisman? What kind of pressure are you facing? And Lamar Jackson said, I wasn't trying to win it last year. So I've always liked him since then. And apparently his Super Bowl window is closed. So I feel sorry for Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, and Candy, some thoughts about what's going on in Baltimore.
This might not be a popular opinion, but my question to all of you is, if they've blown so many first half leads, what are the coaches doing at halftime? What are they not doing? What are the opponents coaching doing at halftime to make the adjustments to be able to stop them and to be able to come back against them? So I put a lot of that on coaching, because if you obviously coached well in the first half because you have the lead. What did you change, or what did the other team change to combat you, to be able to come back on you in the second half?
Great points, Candy. All right, Marvin.
Candy hit it on the head. Halftime
he
is
did.
all about It's all about adjustments.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is football is a game of chess. You know, you get out there with these big old brutes, and you see them beat each other up. But it's a chess match, man. Believe me, it is.
Yeah.
A lot of details, and those halftime adjustments are everything. So what you're seeing is the Ravens being outcoached at halftime, and it's showing up on the scoreboard, and it's consistent. There's a problem there. And with that said, it doesn't help when you're two-time MVP. In regards to this year, your two-time MVP isn't playing, and that your top 6 highest paid players are not playing. That's tough. It's tough to win in the NFL in the salary cap NFL where your 6 highest paid players are on the bench. So listen, until they get healthy, specifically at quarterback, this could be really ugly. And regardless of any momentum they get in the first half, if they're getting out coached like this, and they don't have their quarterback, and they don't have the top 6 guys they're paying, this could be very ugly for Baltimore. And you could see the conversation of Harbaugh getting out of there.
Yeah, no question about it. Jacob?
Candy, I can sort of answer this for you whatsoever. You got to remember, why is he blowing so many? Look at the game plan they have for Lamar by itself, which looks awesome first quarter, second quarter, stuff like that. They're go 28-14, let's just say that kind of thing at halftime. They look great. In the middle of all that movement, he gets 15 minutes to rest. That's not enough for what he's doing. That's not enough for what he's doing for that kind of deal. And then they're asking him to do the same game plan. Meanwhile, the defense has probably put a spy on him. Meanwhile, he's now going to throw. Meanwhile, all that stuff happens, especially with teams again with KC, Buffalo, all those ones. They can just wait and hold. And that's why the deal is, it's when Greg Roman was there. I always used to say Greg Roman was Tecmo Super Bowl when it came to Lamar. He had 4 plays, the same 4 plays over and over because everything was fun to watch. But these are the issues that they have whatsoever. And the same thing used to happen to a lesser extent with Michael Vick. It's like he was so great against a lot of teams. Once he played Chicago, Tampa Bay, or Philadelphia, they just threw a spy on him and he was dead. He won absolutely 0 of those games, those type of games whatsoever. And once you have a certain game plan that you can be able to get, you can wait till they tire out. You can wait till they get to their weakness. And that's what's happening. And John Harbaugh, I think he is a pretty darn good coach. He's been for a good long time. But he got one of the biggest things, he got cocky with this kind of this kind of talent. I liked Lamar. I used to get insulted when they compared Lamar to Michael Vick because I always thought he was way better than Michael Vick. He is that skilled, but he got cocky with that, and he just keeps with that same game plan over and over instead of changing up.
Yeah, George.
That's a very good point, Jacob. You're right. You've got to change up. You've got to adapt in the NFL. You can't just keep throwing the same thing out there. Listen, I'm not going to blame Lamar. I mean, in 4 games, he's got 10 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's still pretty good on pass average, 9 yards a pass. The running game is not there, like you said earlier. And, Baltimore, this is shocking. They had a tough schedule, no question about it, but I expected a lot more out of them. They still can salvage this, but boy, oh boy, they're going to have to solve some issues, and they're going to have to diversify that offensive scheme, defensive. They got to tighten that up for sure. So it's a very surprising stat. I didn't think they were going to start out 1-4, Scott, but they have.
Well, it's definitely a mess, but we're going to stay with the Baltimore theme a little bit. But we're going to the final football. Now Tommy's going to do his thing with the Shanahan report. Okay, I want to make sure Tommy gets his due on that because he does a whale of a job with it. Okay, but let's talk about the Baltimore Ravens, but in a different way. The Detroit Lions in primetime drew 22,817,000 versus the Ravens, the most watched Monday night game since 2006. Get that. Unbelievable. You talk about the Lions being a draw. My goodness, Tommy. They 22 million. And guess what? And we'll take it a step further. The Detroit Lions are 12-2, and then primetime games under head coach Dan Campbell. And were they playing on Sunday night? At Kansas City in prime time on NBC. My goodness, these numbers don't lie. I can't make them up. I know where my research is. 22,817,000 could get you a lot of numbers in the lottery. And if that isn't good enough, Dan Campbell's 12-2 mark gets you a few more. That's called a 3-digit number, people. Tommy, what's your take about the Lions and prime time? They're definitely a good watch, aren't they?
Well, Detroit has always been a great sports town, and then Michiganders have been migrating across the country for a half century since the decline of the auto industry. So you got Michigan fans everywhere, Detroit fans everywhere. The Lions have also been a captivating team with Dan Campbell, and they've different ways. And so they were down for so long. It's surprising from that standpoint. But if you know the history of Detroit teams to attract national interest, it's not surprising from that standpoint.
Candy?
I'm gonna say, except for the NFC North fans, I think a lot of other fans out there know the rise of the Lions, that they have improved, and they've been an underdog for so long that I think they have a lot of fan base out there that they're going to root for their team, but then they're going to root for the Lions because they want to see them do well, because they haven't had the history of doing as well. Yes, these last couple of years they have. Now, I will say, I don't think that a lot of the other NFC North teams are thinking that way, but I think a lot of the other fans of a lot of the other teams, Detroit might be their second team that they're rooting for, because they've been such an underdog, and they can relate to Dan Campbell and how he's motivating his team, and he's a likable coach. And I think that has a lot to do with it as well.
Marvin?
I was thinking the exact same thing. I think the casual football fan likes Dan Campbell. I think they like that blue collar grit, guy. I think that football, that old school football coach, he gives you a little Mike Ditka. He gives you a little bit of, the 80s Chuck. No, he's a tough guy, and he's simple, and he's successful. And I think people like that. It's so much different from what you get, compared to, the coach in Miami or from Belichick, or, it's a little bit of Mike Tomlin, I think. There's a little bit of Mike Tomlin in him. So, and Detroit, listen, we love an underdog. We love a comeback story without question. And Detroit is somebody who, back in the 50s, they had a team back in the 50s, but they are the hot new thing. And Detroit is becoming a fan favorite, I think.
Jacob, be nice.
You have a good point on this, Marvin. And here's the thing. Let me say this about, like I was saying with Detroit, and I was thinking of this with Miami.
Okay.
It's called must-see TV. Detroit is must-see TV.
Right.
But every bit of Detroit is at must-see TV. You have a badass coach with the huge arms. who looks like he's gonna beat up every referee and gives him the wrong call. and then you've got this exciting offense and this then pretty rugged defense, and everything goes right, and they are photogenic, and their jerseys and their uniforms look cool. Everything looks cool. It's bright on TV and looks nice. And in truth, the Miami Dolphins are a Dan Campbell away, as far as because it's South Beach.
Yeah.
They just got a shrimpy little the Harvard guy or whatever, and sweats doing their thing. He's not very photogenic. He's tiny. It's like the referees could beat him up and put him in a closet.
Hey, Jacob, just let me tell you one thing. Once upon a time, Dan Campbell was an interim coach of the Dolphins, was 5-7 and wasn't good enough. Just remember that.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing I'm bringing. It's like they are the Dan Campbell way. I'm bringing, but the reason Detroit gets those, they're must-see TV. Bright. It's like I said, everything about them looks good. They're fun to watch.
I'll say one thing, turn over to George, and Tommy gets the Shanahan report. Number one, Mike Tirico, you're in for a treat because remember the last time you did this matchup? Oh, if they would have had Travis Kelce, they would have won. Guess what? They have Travis Kelce, Mike Tirico. We're back here. Let's redo it again. So I have a feeling the Lions will win. Yes, Errol, you're right. And number two, name me one coach in this league that has an Applebee's commercial and does it as well as Dan Campbell. Nobody, people. Nobody. But I'll tell you what, I salute to Tommy for hanging in there for those extra few minutes, even though I said an hour, but he's been a trooper. But we had to get the football stuff in because he's not inside the pigskin. And I appreciate you staying on a little bit longer, Tommy. But now, the Shanahan Report brought to you by Tom Shanahan. Go ahead.
Yeah, go to my website, tomshanahan.report, and you can learn about my books. What I want to mention before I sign off is I was scrolling through Twitter today, and Awful Announcing had a post about how North Carolina and Hulu canceled their documentary series because North Carolina is a dumpster fire, of course, and there's no story to tell. But Awful Announcing put on the Twitter that sports documentaries are fluff stories. And I replied to him, please, Awful Announcing, contact me. Let me tell you about the documentary we have in development based on my second book, The Right Thing to Do, The True Pioneers of College Football Integration in the 1960s. There's nothing fluff about it. It's about straightening out history and overcoming the media ignorance that Bear Bryant led the way in college football integration. Bear Bryant was a follower, not a leader. Almost everyone in the South had black players before Alabama and the 1970 USC game. It's complete fiction. And so check out my website. And if you want to get on the ground floor of the documentary, all the information's there.
And Tom Shanahan's on Inside Fiction every Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. He's kind enough to go out there and come on with us here on the Sports Exchange twice a month. Tom, we appreciate you. Hope you've enjoyed the show.
Hey, Tom.
Being on here. Jacob has one quick question.
Hey,
for
Tom, here's one big thing. Now that I've met you, I now know what it would be like to do a show with Harry Carey that's sober. You got the glasses, you got the hair, you've got the energy, you got it all.
Jacob.
Okay.
Hey, Tommy, I can't thank you enough for doing this and staying on a little bit longer than I initially. I hope you enjoyed the extra few minutes, but we wanted to get the football out there and give you more time on the Shanahan Report. And we're so glad you've been a tremendous addition Tuesday night, and we love having you on this show as well. And Earl Kinsey said he loves you, Tom. You got another fan out there. If you love him so much, follow the Shanahan Report. We love you anyways, Earl. But there you go. You got a fan out there, Tommy, because you stayed that extra mile. God bless. Tommy's one of my favorite people. I met him in North Carolina. We've been friends since. And now we're both authors. All right, Tommy, have a good night. See you on Tuesday night. Have a great weekend, my friend. Okay.
All right, thanks. I enjoyed it.
Thank you, Tommy. All right, so there's 5 of us. What's left? Well, we're going to talk a little bit of NBA, and that's this. Okay, the San Antonio Spurs hired.
Wait, Scott.
Oh, we got Candy Ebling.
Oh, George.
Well, you forgot
George.
me.
Okay.
You forgot me
All right,
about
go
my
ahead.
Lions.
Oh, that's right. Well, we had to get Tommy in there. Go ahead.
Well, what can we say? The Lions fans have suffered for so long. Those numbers are huge, huge following. As you mentioned, Scott, on the national telecast of Sunday Night Football, and Monday night they're going to be on against Tampa in a couple weeks. And,
Thanks,
they're
Earl.
getting all these primetime love. It's all primetime love. But I agree with what's been said. People identifying with Coach. They're identifying with the players. Stafford and Goff and that whole story, and St. Brown being way down in the draft pecking order. There's great stories there. Hutchinson. So, yeah, it is. Somebody joked, a couple of weeks ago and says, are the Lions the new America's team? Well, the numbers are showing that they might just be.
See, George got a double dose of my town tonight. I threw him a bone with the Tigers, and he got the Lions tonight. Icorn, you ought to feel pretty good. Keep up the good research. I might throw another bone.
Thank you. Scott.
Now we're going to the NBA. Then we have a couple of more basketball topics. I wanted Tommy to do what he had to do. And we'll go to the San Antonio Spurs hired assistant Mitch Johnson as the franchise head coach, who took over for interim coach Greg Popovich in November. Obviously, the Popovich's successor. I still think Becky Hammond should have gotten a job. That's just my opinion, and we've talked about it before. Nevertheless, what they're able to do is maintain continuity to with the line laid out by Popovich and CEO R.C. Buford, as well as GM Brian Wright, who was hired in the same 2016 season. Johnson, some thoughts about this, Marvin?
Listen, we've been talking about culture all night. Duke, being able to have continuity and being able to have a real good exchange and how important that is for culture. I mentioned Green Bay quarterback situation. They've had Favre and Rodgers. They got that position right, and it's crucial. Pittsburgh Steelers and their coaches, so the San Antonio Spurs are an organization who have gotten it right for a long time. I absolutely think this is the move. I'm not a San Antonio fan. I don't even know this coach, but I trust their culture. So this is the right move, and I look forward to seeing what they do with Wembanyama.
Jacob?
You said, who'd you say, Mitch Johnson?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The big thing is you got to remember something. I wanted Becky Hammon also. But the one thing that the San Antonio knew all these years, and we're saying fans, players, everything, is consistency. They had Pop for so long. You don't want 1 year and out. It absolutely. I talked to San Antonio fans at the time. It shocked San Antonio fans that Tim Duncan was 1 game and out as far as coach. It shocked them because they thought he would be the one that bypassed even that thought. He had one game, 1 win, and that's his career. So they're so used to that consistency that all that kind of stuff. So you have to build it. The thing about Wembanyama that worries me though, Marvin, the one thing that worries me is that he doesn't have the usual injuries that a 7'5" guy has. He had blood clots. Will those hold up? We saw from an much older man with Dion, he's had to have a 4-hour surgery, and it's like, this is a 21-year-old that had to take 3 months off, something along those lines, something like those lines last year because of blood clots. Those aren't easy. Will it hold off?
We're gonna find out. I don't know, but that is relevant, Jacob. That is relevant.
Okay, Candy.
I know you guys have talked about Becky Hammon getting the job. I'm not sure the NBA is ready to have a female as a head coach yet. I just don't know. Popovich brought Johnson in for a reason. Heir apparent, coach him, mentor him. I think that was their game plan. When will we see? Now, I will say this. I think Becky Hammon was qualified to be a head coach in the NBA. But again, I'm just not convinced that the NBA is ready for that. Let's face it. Even Dawn Staley talked about that when she didn't get hired either. So
yeah, but Candy, let me say this: Dawn Staley is a phenomenal college coach.
She is
phenomenal college coach. Mm-hmm. Becky Hammon has not only has she done pro, she's done pro men and won with them. Yep. And it's like if they're, even it was almost an insult to me to see them in an interview Dawn Staley. It's not because of her coaching ability. That's absolutely not. It's just the fact that it's like pros in college is completely a different breed of animal, and men and women are a different breed of animal. And they just put that in. It's like, if you're not ready to put Becky Hammon when she has already won even a minor title with men, then you're ready for no one. You're not ready for anybody to do it if you're not going to, for a woman, for any of that, because she is the most qualified. She's the only qualified one.
I agree.
So that's just their thing. It's like, it just shows whatsoever why they put them. Here's the thing: you put Dawn Staley, and this is the thing. You picked the wrong. I don't think Becky Hammon's wrong because she has people that knew her and she could have done that job. If you pick the wrong woman to do this with this type of deal, remember Kim Ing's situation? We talked about this last week with Miami, and it literally got to a playoffs, and they tried to get her help, and then she's out, and they've been horrible since. They insulted her. And look, if they put what if they put Dawn Staley and she bombed with the Knicks, especially that close to the NBA Finals? I mean, you're not going to see another woman for a very long time. We're already not seeing it in the major leagues. So this has to be the right choice when you do it.
So Earl, I'm partial toward the Detroit Lions. Okay. All right. So I'll turn it over to George. Last word. I have one more WNBA topic I want to get to. I'm sure we'll have time for pundit, and 2 non-sports topics as well. There won't be that complicated though. George, what's your thoughts on this hire?
I think it's a good one. Similar to what we talked about at the beginning of the show with Duke's Mike Krzyzewski. The situation is in the pros is obviously not the same as college, but Johnson was a former player. Okay, number one. Number two, when he was the G League coach, they won the title, and that was called the Austin Spurs. And then they added him to the coaching staff, I believe, in 2019 there at San Antonio. And so he's had time to work with George. And I really do think that I'm sorry, Greg, excuse me. I'm George. I think he's had some time. He's gotten to know the players. He's gotten to know a lot of the younger players being with the G League as he was. And so I think, he deserves an opportunity here. And, Popovich, big, huge shoes to fill. I agree with what you guys said about Hammond. I wish he would have got it too, but I think Mitch Johnson deserves this, and let's see what he can do.
George, there was a term on that last show called punch drunk. Maybe as you get later in this thing, you get punch drunk.
Yeah, probably.
All right. Well, anyway, sorry, Jacob. Let me get to a WNBA topic. If you know it's good for you, so I get punted in here shortly. Okay, and that's this: front office source reported the WNBA broke their season record. Actually, they did it in August. Set in 2002 with 2.4 million fans. This number was still nearly a month ago. Candy, you want to come up with the final number? Nevertheless, they still broke it with a month ago in the year. Marvin, does that tell you about the popular and the growth in the league? I know they have a collective bargaining agreement to work out, and Earl, I don't know if you heard me, but Lions, I'm partial toward them. Go ahead, Marvin.
No, they need it. They need it because the numbers were horrible, and the WNBA wasn't really getting the viewers and the attendance that people thought. So the fact that they're a month out and they're breaking records and they're doing this with Caitlin Clark on the bench, because they put a lot of that on her, and she's a huge part of that, I think, as a whole. But that's significant. These players want to be paid more, as you said. They're heading into the CBA. And there's a lot of stake for these young ladies. There really is. So for them to get their numbers up and to show that they're able to fill the stands or bring people in, for them to be able to have some kind of viewership. I don't know what their merch is, but any positivity in regards to any of the metrics for them is good. And right now, it's looking like they'll have some type of leverage in these agreements, I guess. So yeah, it's good. I'm happy to see it. And I'm looking forward to seeing Caitlin get healthy and play again, and looking forward to seeing Angel and a year from now, Juju Watkins.
Great stuff, Earl. Glad you got me. Okay, I wasn't sure. All right, so yeah, Angel Reese, another face of the WNBA. All right, bear in mind, Jacob Pundit is on the line. Just kidding.
Yeah, you're good. That's. The big thing about it is, Kathy Engelberg just made the worst mistake in the world. So I mean, they've gotten these numbers. Don't get this wrong. I mean, Caitlin did start it, but give them credit. They got these numbers. You know what I mean? They got these numbers for the league, so they've got that as leverage. But when Nafisa Collier, is it Collier or Collier?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Nafisa Collier. Basically was talking about, she with the end of the year interview, Kathy Engelbert says that it's like, well, the Caitlin should be thankful that the that gave her the platform to make $16 million. And I'm like, are you out of your mind? Yeah, it's like literally, she started everything what we see on this. Nafisa Collier admits it. She was not happy to hear that. And it's like, I will going to make a prediction. I think Kathy Engelbert has to go before there's even any kind of deal. I think there's going to be a lockdown. I think there's going to be gone. They're not going to play. They're not going to train. They're not going to do anything. They will leave before she gets back. I think she's going to have to go.
Nah, I wouldn't be surprised if it happens soon. I've been reading the tea leaves on that. All right, Candy, some updates there. Then we have George and I have a couple non-sports we want to get to. Then we got pundits to wrap up the show. Go ahead, Candy. What do you got?
I'm looking at it because I found two different figures.
Oh,
So they were saying that they eclipsed 3 million. The last time they outdrew back in 2002 was the second highest, but they had 16 teams then, and they only have 13 teams now. I can say that a lot of it has to do with all these name players that we're hearing about now, and yes, did we have the distractions? But I think distractions also brought more attention to the WNBA. Yes, the Caitlin Clark, yes, she was injured for part, but bringing her in and bringing Angel Reese in, and some of these names have good marketing teams because they also have their own lines of whether it be a shoe or whatever it is, but
Sneakers.
they're doing it the right way. So kudos to them for breaking their single season record.
Okay, George.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going about it the right way. I agree with what you guys said. I mean, anytime you can get ABC and ESPN and CBS is doing games and other networks, I mean, I think it's a good thing. And I think attendance is being driven by these stars that you've already mentioned. So, I mean, the television ratings are going to be great. The in-stand attendance, I know it's not comparable to the professionals in the NBA, but don't forget the WNBA has not been around as long, but now they're finally getting more notoriety because of these stars that are coming out of college and going right into the WNBA. And it's great. It's a great show, and it's a great value for your price if you want to take your family to a WNBA game. A heck of a lot cheaper than going to the NBA.
How would you know? Because you get press passes sick to me. Don't worry about it.
Oh, I know. All
right, Tom. All right, quit while you're ahead, Icorn. All right, but I agree with you. Icorn's right. I haven't given him a hard time much lately because he's been good. So all right, it's okay. All right, well, don't forget Sophie Cunningham. She knows how to knock a few people around here to protect Caitlin Clark, who I consider is the league, and of course we know Paige Beckers is going to be a feature part of it. But go ahead, Marvin. Anything you want to add to it?
No, all good points. I spoke earlier. It's a situation where it's great for the players. They need as many fans and a reason to get paid because this CBA is going to control the next decade, and they need a good deal. So,
all right, non-sports topic time here. We'll save it to the end. A man who bought an airline ticket, lifetime pass, has saved $2.37 million and traveled over 20 million miles. Not too bad, Marvin. Get this. I'm telling you. Airline lifetime pass has saved $2.37 million and traveled 20 million miles. I can handle that. What about you, Mark?
Man, that's a serious deal. How much did he pay?
Let's see. He saved $2.37 million and traveled over 20 million. That's the most of my information about an airline pass. I don't have that information, but no,
he's moving.
She digs up everything anyways. All right, Jacob, what do you think? Not a bad way to travel. You can save $2.37 million.
I don't know. I mean, I understand. No, I understand that whole thing. And then they threw a fit and pulled it away. And I'm like, that's your guys' fault. Just take it. They'll let him do it until he dies. I just don't understand. It's like, oh, we're saving our money. No, you did this. You need to eat it.
Find anything, Ken?
I'm working on it. Give me.
All right, George, go ahead. While our crack researcher goes ahead and digs it up.
Oh, there's some big money. Yeah, big travel dollars. But no, I think it's doing the right thing. Those miles accumulate, and stuff like that in the airlines. But I don't travel much, so as you know, so I don't get to take advantage of those. But this is a really crafty thing. I think that's pretty cool. I like that guy.
Candy.
So he's the world. Okay, his name is Tom Stuker. He's also known as the 24 million mile man. Back in 1990, he bought a lifetime pass on United Airlines for him and a companion for $510,000. The pass allows him to fly first class anywhere, anytime. He actually doesn't own a car because he uses his points for the airlines to rent cars instead. Let's see. With recent travel woes out of Newark Airport, flyers can take some advice from a man who has flown out of New Jersey facility more than 8,000 times.
Oh my
He is
God.
the world's most frequent flyer. He owns a golden ticket. Yeah.
And the golden ticket, people on the Sports Exchange, save these. I love these non-sport topics. So if you like this one, I got another one. And Candy ought to know the person that we're dealing with here, because AI is changing the world that we live and work. JP Morgan CEO believes it won't just be business. Excuse me, it won't be business more. It'll make more. Won't make business more efficient. It could also give people better work-life balance. The next generation of employees will work 3.5 days a week and live 100 years old. Oh, 3.5 days a week isn't so bad. 100 years old? No way I'm getting there. I told you I'm going to.
Yes, you will.
Early.
Yes, you will, Scott.
I have a great caretaker, among other things. But all right, Jacob, you talked about it first here. What are your thoughts about a 3.5 day work week? The JP Morgan Chase CEO, I don't want to mention his name at all, but those of you that want to research it, go ahead and do it. 3.5 day work week. Can you handle it? Do you do it?
Of course. It's like, I mean, absolutely. No, but the big thing about it is, for all of that they're talking about, AI is going to take away so many other jobs too. So one of the things that's going to come with this now is we're going to see people with the most competitive mindsets get these jobs now, because it's going to get more there won't be any more fast food jobs for kids. There won't be more. A lot of construction jobs will be gone. It'll be a lot of AI, a lot of be robotic, a lot of that stuff. So every job that people getting out of college now will be nothing but highly competitive. So you're going to get your 3.5 days a week, but you're also going to get the best of the very best, because it's going to be not even just from college. It's going to be a lot of different playing to try to get people's attention.
Marvin?
Yeah, I mean, I think AI is going to impact every aspect of our life. 3.5 day work week. So I think that comes down to the individual. I think there's so many side hustles and different opportunities to make money. I think people are going to be working, 5 to 7 days anyway, regardless of what, opportunities come from AI. I think that the American hustle, American culture is what it is. And I think people trying to get money. So, I don't think people will be satisfied with 3.5 days when they've been trained to work for 5 days. So, but for those who want to play golf and chill, and they need more of that mental health, stay at home, whatever it may be, works well. And maybe AI is going to help us in regards to mental health by taking us out of the workplace and giving us more free time. We'll see.
Well, as Earl Kinsey said, having fun on this podcast because MP3, you are the best. Sporting cast is totally awesome. Sorry, you, Earl. Great stuff. You have an MP3 player, look us up. We get out there. Ask Earl Kinsey. He's our biggest fan of the night. The fan of the night, Earl Kinsey, for being on the program. All right, who have I left? Who wants to get a piece of this action? Raise your hand.
George.
Go ahead, George.
3.5 work days a week. Wow, that sounds like a lot of fun. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. I know that these statistics say it might, but there's a lot of people now that are mad because they had to go back to the office. They were, after COVID, as you know, they were all working at home, a lot of them, and now they're being called back to work, and there's a lot of complaints about the bosses bringing them back. But come on, the thing is that, yeah, the whole world is going through a different kind of work routine, if you will, and stay at home is increasing. But to be able to just work 3.5 days, I don't think it's going to be universally accepted. I'm just going to leave it at that.
All right. Any thoughts, Candy? You want to leave it alone?
No, I have thoughts. There are other countries that are already doing it. There are other countries that are doing it, and it's successful. Now, is AI going to change things around here? Absolutely. But I've been in the same industry for over 33 years now. My industry has changed. Scott, your industry has changed. You wrote a book about how your industry has changed, and that didn't even have to do with AI. So yes, things are going to change. That's just the nature of us and technology progressing. Now, the one thing I will say, as long as you learn, I mean, we know about it now. So you start to prepare, you know, as kids in school, as long as they start to prepare for jobs that they want to have, that they think are going to be like, there's going to be jobs out there. They're just different. They're changing. You know.
Jacob, you already commented on this?
Yeah, first one.
Good. You get punted. Go ahead, Jacob.
Marvin, you're going to be a part of this, at least the first part, okay? I'm going to ask this. How long did you play in the NFL?
3 years.
Okay. Did any time whatsoever, at any time, did you see anybody on your offensive side drop the ball before the end zone?
No.
Thought so. This is so recent. This is going to Amari. This is going to Amari DeMarcado and Adonai Mitchell and all the rest of the morons that keep doing this. I was so mad when I heard Jonathan Gannon had to pay a fine and do the apology, which he got a fine anyway, for that ridiculous. When he was actually doing a little bit of coaching. Okay, can you slap him on the who cares? DeMarcado should have been out. He should have been lucky they were at home so he could drive home. So should Adonai Mitchell. Adonai Mitchell should have walked home. He was on the road. What is going on with people over and over? All of these players dropping the ball. They're dropping the ball at the goal line. Why?
They're getting ready for the celebration dance.
High school and college does this crap too. And heck, well, I've seen them when they're 2 yards before the end zone doing this crap. The big thing is, I'm mad that Jonathan Gannon got. I'm mad that he got fined. I'm mad that they had the forced apology like he was a hostage, kind of like Jalen Rose. I'm kind of mad at that part, but at the same time, where's your leadership at all? Because it happens. Each and every one of these happens each every time. I can say this part. There are specific coaches we know in this league that's never going to happen. They know they're gone. I don't have one memory of it happening with the Andy Reid team. If I'm wrong, you can get that. But it's like you can tell me. But I don't have any memory of this. There's many coaches I can name, and I can tell you that old coaches that definitely didn't happen.
Well, I think it did happen. Wasn't Deshaun Jackson on Andy's team in Philly when he ran that pump?
He was the first one, wasn't he?
I think so.
He was the first one.
That's the first one I can recall.
Then I'll tell you one thing. If that was the case, it was the last time.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anybody in KC doing their winning Super Bowls.
Right.
This is what we're at here. It's like, how many of the players, let's get a percentage, how many of the players are actually caring about going to the Super Bowl? Because one of the things I heard was that I was hearing about how contracts work in the NFL. I heard it from Julian Edelman. He was talking about he'll talk about, did you ever, by the way, in your 3 years, did you make the playoffs?
Never.
Okay. He said during the playoff time, if you're in a bye, you're doing all the same work and not getting paid at all. And that was during the contracts. And these are the things, like, it makes me wonder how many of these people actually, are they just trying to get out there and trying to showboat, get on TikTok, are they trying to do all stuff and make the most money, or do they care about winning? And go ahead.
No. They all want to win, man. They all want to win. We live in a digital age. We live in an age where these guys can make more money in different ways, and that's what you're seeing. You're seeing the evolved businessman from the athletes, and just wanting to, as I was saying earlier, get other hustles. We were talking about a 3.5 day work week, and I was like, nah, but people who want to get money are going to find ways to get money. They want to work more than that. So that's all we're seeing is this, how business has evolved with technology. And, social media has impacted every single industry. And these NFL players are, some of the biggest stars in the world. They're on the biggest stage. We're talking about, 22 million people watching a single football game. So they're a big deal, and they see their opportunities, and these are the times that we're in.
But it's the third string. I'm just saying, it's a third string running back and a third string running back and a second string wide receiver doing the same darn thing.
Hey, Jacob, we're running out of time, man.
I'll finish this quick. This is the thing that I was bringing with this. It's the fact that at some point in time, it has to be about winning if you want to get somewhere. I know what you were saying, Marvin, but it has to be about winning. And some of these coaches, some of these front offices have got to figure out and let them go fast and then quit this bad habit.
Okay, Candy, quick station break. Everybody can say what they want to say. Go ahead, Candy.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott the Motor City Madmouth Morgan Roth, and the foreword was written by George Eichhorn, another panelist tonight. Great job, gentlemen. It talks about media and how it has changed over the 40-plus years Scott's been in the business. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content, so go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. If you see the red subscribe button in that lower right-hand corner, click it, like, and share us, and then of course, turn on your notifications so you're notified anytime we go live. If you want to advertise, call Scott 954-304-4941. And if you want to be a guest or have show or topic ideas, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. Back to you, Scott.
All right, Jacob. Just so you know, everybody, Jacob Christopher will be on No Limits with Rachel Gelton and I tomorrow night at 8:00 p.m. Eastern Time. Make it quick, Jacob. How can people find you?
I'm on Sideline Sports. I am Sideline One Sports on TikTok. I'm Jacob Christner on Facebook. Jacob Christner _ on Instagram. Might make my way back to Twitter, but I'll let you know. And also, I'll be on tomorrow night. I'll be on tomorrow night for this thing. And I was on the show just recently on Sunday morning and stuff like that for a football show. Who knows how many times I'll be on that.
Yeah, and I'll tell you get around good, but tomorrow night you're going to really have a good time. I've already got some pretty good stuff planned. Marvin Powell, my pupil, I love this guy. Go ahead, Marvin, put it out there, brother.
You can catch me with the South Florida Tribune Tuesday nights, Wednesday mornings at 11, and then Wednesday nights at 9. You can also catch me on Locked On USC Mondays and Fridays, and I'm Marvin on the mic on social media.
George, go ahead.
Yeah, you can follow me at the South Florida Tribune website under the contributors section. And I wrote a book too. And at the end of my column, at the end of the column is a link rather to purchase the book. Thank you for the cover shot there, Candy. Detroit Sports Broadcasters on the Air. You can reach me at gicorn@yahoo.com. That's the best way.
All right, Earl Kinsey, we love you too, pal. I appreciate you being on the whole time. Great stuff, pal. Earl Kinsey, I almost feel like we had another guest on here for Earl Kinsey. I'm looking forward to seeing this guy come back on, but we love you all. Well, we love you too, Earl. I'll tell you one thing. We need more like you. We need to have a Xerox and copy more Earl Kinseys out there. Yeah. I don't know much about MP3s anymore, but I know that there's an Earl Kinsey. That shows you what I know about technology. Forget it. We're done.
Scott, MP3 is Marvin.
Oh, MP3.
Oh,
sorry, Marvin. I didn't see that part.
It's all good. It's all good.
I thought it was one of those technology things. Once upon a time.
I should have trademarked it years ago. Trust me.
Oh, well, Marvin, don't put it down. Now I really feel as one of these old Puerto Ricans will say El Stupido. That's the only word I ever knew in Spanish. But I was called El Stupido. So, all right, well, you know what? MP3. Okay, now that I know what your nickname is, okay, now instead of that device that I once thought was technology that I know nothing about, tell you what, Marvin, I love you, brother. Earl, you too. And this crew was outstanding. Tom Shanahan, George Eichhorn, Katie Eveling, Jacob Christner, and MP3. This is a Motor City Madmouth. Thank you for joining us. We'll see if we can do better next Wednesday night. And once again, if you didn't see our first show, No Limits, take a look at it. Tomorrow, No Limits with Jacob is on as well. Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Good night.